Hello, welcome back to SnowOnly Plus. Today we're joined by Rory from Smart Currency. He's one of our currency partners. Rory, how are you?
Yeah, very well, thanks, Jake. And yourself?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Thanks for joining us. Can you just give us a bit of an intro on yourself and who Smart are and how you can help SnowOnly clients in 2026?
Yeah, sure. Well, thank you for having me, Jake. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to some of your clients and, yeah, hopefully some of our clients. So, Jake mentioned I'm Rory Halloran. So I work as one of the account managers at Smart Currency Exchange. I've been at Smart for coming up to 5 years now. And a bit of background about Smart. So, we are a foreign exchange specialist focusing primarily on the property market. We've been in the industry for over 20 years now, and in that time, we've helped over 45,000 people in a very similar situation to yourselves transfer money internationally to buy and sell property. So, our primary aim is to try and keep client buying costs as low as possible with a sensible budget, and we do that through effective currency management. I'm sure a lot of people would know the currency markets are an extremely volatile place at the moment, which we'll come on to a little bit later on in this conversation. And you might have seen changes in property values due to that. So my role specifically is speaking to clients, sort of guiding them through the whole process of buying the property and the currency that relates to it. Try and help you manage your budget as best as possible and try and eliminate some of that currency risk. So that's sort of a general overview of the actual role. So the clients obviously coming through Snow Only are going to be buying a property. So I'll be speaking with them individually, discussing their plans, the timescales, budget, how they're actually funding the purchase, and just ensuring that they've got sensible timeframes, managing the currency from a very early stage, being aware of what might happen. If you've not come across currency or only seen it for holiday money, then might not be overly familiar with how much currency can impact your budget. So just helping educate clients essentially and making sure that they're well prepared for the journey ahead.
Yeah, perfect. And like you said, there's probably a few people that are watching this video that haven't really got much experience with currency, or like you said, just been on holiday, maybe got some travel money from the post office, or have very little experience with currency. So for those people, Rory, how would you say? What does the process look like? How easy is it to, for example, versus a high street bank? How easy is it to set up with you guys, and what does the process look like?
Yeah, sure. First thing I say to that is don't panic. In all honesty, majority of clients I speak to haven't had any experience with currency. It's not really an industry you'd come across unless you work in the industry or maybe have a background in finance, for example. So most people I speak to, their general experience is just holiday money, which is relatively small amount. So first things first, that's what we're here to help with. In terms of the process, now it's very straightforward in getting yourself set up with us. So there's two ways you really can go about it. You can register online for a free, no obligation account, and you'll automatically be assigned with an account manager like myself. Or you can have a conversation initially with one of our onboarding team. So they'll sort of qualify your plans, work out potentially which account manager might be best suited for your requirement. They'll then understand all your requirements and timescales, budget funding, etc. They'll run you through sort of KYC checks just so we can verify you as a person, make sure we know who we're working with as an FCA authorized company. We need to do those checks as well, and then it's a case of getting through to me and or one of my colleagues and having a more detailed conversation around your plans and discussing the actual sort of currency exchange impacts on that. So that'll be the general process of getting set up. Now, in terms of timescales and when's best to do that, my recommendation, in all honesty, is sooner rather than later. If you've got a firm plan that you are looking to purchase a property overseas, then there's no harm getting set up with us and just having some initial conversations. As I mentioned, it's a no obligation account, so there's no actual need to use us if your plans fall through or you no longer proceed with that. It's absolutely fine. It's just good to start having those conversations and having those discussions. Then, in terms of how we actually differ to someone like your high street bank, for example, which most people might think is the way to go about a transfer, your bank, yes, they can manage the transaction. Just a few reasons why I oppose them. The first is the transactional side of things. So the only way you can use a bank is going to them on the day you need to make a payment for the property and saying, oh, hi NatWest, I need to send 100,000 euros today. Well, what's the exchange rate? They'll give you that rate. They'll manage the transaction fine. The exchange rate they're going to give there is not going to be competitive at all, and they'll probably charge you an admin fee for doing that. So it's a bit of a double whammy there as such. Now, if you're having an offer accepted today and completing on a property in 4 or 5 months' time, exchange rates today are going to be a lot different to where they'll be in 4 months' time. So going through your bank, you've got no idea until that day of your true cost in pounds or dollars or whatever currency you might be purchasing the property in. So it's quite high risk doing it that way. Now, with ourselves, we'll be having plenty of conversations prior to probably finding a property and actually going through that process. So we offer a different range of products as well in terms of how you can manage the currency. So yeah, we do offer that option of just taking a rate on the day. As I've alluded to, there's a lot of risk involved in that. The most popular option with our clients is the ability to actually fix an exchange rate using something called a forward contract. So it's super useful when buying property or doing any sort of large purchase where you can secure an exchange rate today for 3, 4, 5, 6 months into the future. Any time length up to 12 months actually. So it gives you a really good way of fixing your budget now and then not having to worry about what might happen with your currency. And the second benefit of the forward contract is when you secure the exchange rate in at the point, you only need to pay 5% to do so. So you've got a double benefit there. You get to keep most of your funds in your source currency. Interest rates globally are quite good at the moment. If you're earning interest on that, or you need to sell a property to buy a property, then it gives you that extra flexibility rather than having to pay everything up front.
Yeah, that makes complete sense. Thanks for explaining that so well, Rory. I guess obviously from my side, I speak to a lot of snow-only buyers and I talk to them about this. These are the points of differentiation between your high street bank. Offering these products, speaking to clients, actually working with their budgets and understanding their requirements, because obviously everyone's situation is different, right?
Of course. Yeah, exactly. Everyone's situation is different. Everyone's funding a purchase slightly differently. But that's what we're here to help. We've no circumstances unique to us in this day and age. So that's what we can help manage and understand what's the best option and solution for you. I know a lot of SnowOnly clients I spoke to recently buying off plan as well. So might have stage payments. So there's different ways that we can sort of structure the currency to ensure that you're covering off the risk associated with that.
I guess what you were saying before, how do you mitigate that is by using that forward contract, right, and locking in that rate so that we're removing that volatility, right?
Yeah, I think the best way I try and explain it to clients is, if you're buying a property in your local country, whether that's Australia, the US, the UK, wherever that might be, you would never, put an offer in. Let's say you put an offer in for £500,000 just because I'm based in the UK. That gets accepted today. You wouldn't wait 3 months for then someone to go, oh, actually, Rory, it's now costing you, £550,000 or £450,000. You just be like, well, no, I want it to be 500. That's what I've agreed. I don't want that to change. So the benefit of the forward contract tool, for example, it gives you that certainty. So you have your offer accepted in a currency you haven't got, so in euros. We would then agree today that it's going to cost you X amount today in pounds, and that's not going to change. Obviously, come completion, you might have got a slightly better rate. I'm not going to deny that's not happened before, but the forward contract is providing you the certainty and the peace of mind. When you're buying a property overseas, there's so many other things to manage: visas, removals, if you're moving over. There's so much going on that I've had so many clients constantly looking at exchange rates, thinking it's going to go up, and up, and then it's moving in the right direction. All of a sudden, it drops, and they're like scrambling around close to completion, trying to borrow money off people because they're now outside their sort of budget. So you've got to sort of remove the human mind of wanting to achieve the best rate and getting that to actually sort of a sensible strategy and having a good idea of what you're paying in your source currency and getting those euros and actually enjoying the whole process of buying that property internationally. It's meant to be fun, right? You're buying a property for SnowOnly, you're buying that dream holiday home or potentially relocating. You don't want to be stressing yourself out with currency movements and constantly watching that. And if we do see sort of a black swan event that you mentioned where the rates drop 2, 3, 4, 5% overnight, and you've got to try and find 10, 15, 20,000 pounds or dollars more, I don't think you'd be too happy about it. So yeah, mind is where you want to be.
Yeah, for sure. And like you're saying, that's something that I say to buyers as well. Focus on the property side, focus on the exciting bits, and let us handle the rest and sort everything else out for you. Okay, amazing. Well, thanks very much for your time, Rory. Was there anything else that you wanted to add before we finish up, or were we all good?
No, like I said, just sort of mentioned sort of at the start of this conversation about getting yourself set up. There's no obligation to use the service. It's a good way to find out information. So I definitely recommend doing that maybe sooner rather than later, just so you've got those conversations in place. Obviously, if you've got any questions, I'm sure Jake will share my details. So feel free to reach out to me directly. If you speak to someone in our team and you want me to be your account manager, again, just ask, say that you've seen our videos and want to deal with Rory directly, and I'll be happy to accommodate any of those clients asking that question.
Perfect. And just so everyone's clear, anyone that comes through myself comes through SnowOnly gets connected directly with Rory. So whoever you've seen on the screen, you'll have direct contact with him from the start, which is nice because he's best in class. I know he's been in the job for many years and he knows exactly what he's doing. So thanks for that, Rory. Just before we go as well, there's going to be a few links down below where you can download our guides. We're also doing our first live webinar in the next few weeks. So stay tuned for more details and dates on that one. That's going to be a really good one with myself and Mark Lightfoot, all on about what learnings from the 2026 season and what we should be looking for and trying to get prepared for next ski season. So look out for that one below as well. Rory, thank you very much. Really appreciate your time. Some really great insight there and explaining how things work and how buyers can utilize your service. And yeah, hopefully see you on the channel again soon.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Jake. Have a good day.
You too. Take care. Thanks everyone for watching.